Hey everyone, it's good to see you. My name is Kimberly. I'm with New Birth Center for Community Inclusion, and I'm sure I met you um, back in March or before March when you came out and visited us on our Saturday Play and Learn, and we're replacing the Saturday Play and Learn with an in-home, a virtual one, so that you can do it at home. And if you're here with us, just give me your feedback. Let me know how you're doing, and I wanted to let you know that we absolutely care about you. I don't know you by your name. I'll go and look and see who's online right now, but I absolutely care about you. We care about what's going on in your family's life, what's going on in your life, and we wanted to bring this play and learn together for you. I have one of my friends here so he can act like he's a kid. His name is Ralph. That's my dog, Ralph. He's part of our play and learn family, so the kids would play with him. And today we're going to talk about art provocations. So, when you're talking about art provocations, it's really about what the child is interpreting from what they see. And when you're focusing on art provocations, you want to set up a space for your child. Ralph, I'm going to move you really quickly. You want to set up a space for your child. So what I did here is I basically got some construction paper just to make a mat. And I really try to take this down, but my husband taped it for me. So I'm going to retape it. You got to tape down everything so that your child, it depends on how old they are. You don't want everything sliding everywhere. So you go ahead and you tape it. I use some orange color tape, but you definitely can use anything that you choose to tape. This prop here, you can play with this. Now, one thing I know when you're using different props, you don't want to have too much, but sometimes the choice is just everything. So we have the green squash, and then we have the multicolored squash. Then I love this pale one. The pale one is kind of like a yellowish color. And then, of course, pumpkin is a squash. And then you have another yellow and orange squash. They are all in the squash family. I don't have the names to all the squash. Now, another thing when you're looking at setting up your table with your child, you want to make sure that you don't have too much. So right now, I have a lot. And it depends on the age of your child. You probably want to tell them to pick what they want. So I'm going to take off some of these colors off the table, and I'm going to choose what I want, just like I would let them choose. A lot of times when you're in an early learning program, it's kind of already sitting out there for you. But I think that children need to have the opportunity to choose. So when you choose it, you want to control their errors as much as possible. So I'm going to just take off a few things off my table. I'm going to scale it down, and you can talk to them and say, just choose 3 colors. And what colors do you want to choose? So for me, I like to talk to my children and say all the different colors. So right here, come back here, Ralph. Come sit down with me. Ralph, so what color do you want to choose? So you can ask your child what color they want to choose. Do they want orange? Do they want a light orange, green, and then a dark orange? So I'm gonna choose these 3 colors. Then I'm just gonna simply move them away so it's not distracting, because if children see it, they become distracted. So you just simply move them away, and then you ask them what do they want to choose from the squash, or you could just set it up too. So for me, I am going to choose, let's see, I'm going to take this squash off, even though I think it's absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to take this one off, even though I think it's absolutely beautiful. And I think I am just going to have 2. So depending on the age of your children, you can have 3 there for when you have your 6-year-olds. but really 2 to 3 is enough for that 5 to 6 age range, especially if this is something they never done before, because you want to control the errors of the environment. You want them to feel comfortable. You want them to be able to engage. And I would just go ahead and let them touch it, let them feel it. I really love this squash right here, even though I think I'm gonna paint this one. You see, I am older and I can't quite figure out what I want. So sometimes just having them to have that choice, to minimize the choice, helps them to be able to make decisions and feel good about their decision. So right here, I would have them touch the squash and then talk to them. What do you feel? Ask them those questions. What do you feel? Besides what color it is. The question, what do you feel? And that's why this art provocation project is so beautiful, is because it becomes open-ended. The question, what do you feel on the squash, is an open-ended question. So you can answer, that baby can answer, your child can answer that question anyway. They can say that it feels bumpy right here, and if you compare it, it's smooth but a little bumpy, and then actually on this squash there's 2 bumps on there, which is quite odd. And then this is pretty smooth. But it has texture. So at that point of time, you're able to support them with their vocabulary development. So it feels smooth right here at the bottom, and then it feels smooth right here at the top, but the sides all the way around is bumpy. Now, I like to have other words to introduce to my students or the children that I'm working with, and I might say to them, oh, it feels bumpy. What else do you feel? And then they might say, well, it feels rough. And it does feel kind of rough in between those bumpy parts. And I would ask them to explain it. So it's more than just art. It's really about critical thinking and how you are going to support your child with critical thinking skills and having vocabulary out there for them. Even when your child is as young as 2 years old, you can still focus on that child's vocabulary. A lot of times, even when they're infants, a lot of times we don't like to speak to them and use a lot of different words, but I'm telling you, using those words and allowing them to stretch their minds in a critical way is super important. So let's go ahead and have fun. So one thing you would notice about me, I am not an artist. So whatever I do, Ralph, I don't want to get you dirty, so I'm going to put you back a little bit. Whatever I do, it's just at the elementary level, and that is okay. You have to understand that is okay. Whatever they do is okay. So I think I am going to just focus on, I think I'm going to focus on, for the time we have together, I might just focus on the bumpy one. So your child is looking at it, your son, your daughter, they're looking at it, whoever you're supporting, they're looking at the squash and they're like, wow, I kind of want to use more colors, a different color than the colors that I see in front of me. And that is okay. Allow them to make that choice, but stay in the 3 range so that they won't get all, extra confused. You want them to be able to master this. And I was looking for my lighter one. That is okay. I'll use the yellow. Okay, so then I would ask them, so which orange do you want to keep on here? And I think we're just going to keep the lighter of the orange on here. There it goes. There it goes. All right, so here we go. I don't outline for them. This is not a fill in the blank for them. This is about them having the opportunity to create. You can use finger paint. which I really strongly suggest for younger kids. This was just some Corolla um, paint, crayon paint. I like going to get the bigger vats of paint so that I can have that and squeeze it in, but I went at the last minute to Target and I got this. So that is okay. So I am not an artist and it's fine. I think I'm going to play with the green one, the green squash first. I absolutely love it. So when you're talking to them, especially your older kids, you can ask them, well, what does this look like to you? And they might come up with several different answers, but to me, it looks like a cucumber. So the more you expose your children to, the more words they will have in their vocabulary. You can do exposure through your eating time. You can do exposure through reading time. You can do exposure while you're taking a walk. It looks like a cucumber, the top of a cucumber. But at the end of here, it looks like a bowl. Allow them to turn it around and look at it. As you can see, I just didn't go right into the art project or art provocation. I am taking my time. I'm having fun. I'm talking. I'm having dialogue, back and forth exchange, trying to use open-ended words or open-ended questions so that they can come up with the words and the vocabulary that's in their language. So it looks like a cucumber with a bulb on it and it has bumps. All right. I'm going to see if I can draw from this angle. Let's see without getting my dog wet. So, you can talk to them and or just simply allow them to work. And they are working. This is their workspace. Just like you have a workspace, they have a workspace. To set up your child's workspace at home is the spirit of intentionality. That you are really intentional about their learning. You're very much so intentional about their learning. And I'm trying to paint this like a child. A lot of times children will paint very large because everything they see, a lot of things are just really large for them. And you can guide them if they get stuck. Tell them just keep trying. What do you think they're learning when they're holding the paintbrush? They're learning fine motor skills with their fingers. And they're actually learning shapes as they're looking. So this looks like a cucumber, and I would ask them, so what does the bottom look like to you? And I try when they're working, I try not to talk to them too much, just a little bit, just to support them. And then it's great if you're able to sit there and have this activity with your child too. It's absolutely okay. Absolutely okay. And you can talk to them about what they're doing. So what are you doing right now, Ralph? And Ralph might say, so you see, it's another open-ended question. Ralph might say, I am filling in my squash. And so you're talking to Ralph about filling in his squash. And then you ask him, you don't ask him the color because we know that it's the color green. You don't want to keep asking what color it is. But you can ask them, do you see light areas and dark areas? What do you see as you're painting with the color green? And Ralph might say, well, I see some areas that are dark and I see some areas that are light. And then you want to ask him, if he puts it down, you might go like this, look at it for a little bit, and you say, well, hey, Ralph, are you finished? And Ralph be like, and these are your children that have a very short attention span. If they're done, let them be done. And then you come back the next day or the next time and ask them to extend the project. And you keep doing it until they extend it. But this Ralph here, Ralph has great attention span because he's sitting right there with me. Hey, Ralph. And he is coloring. And a lot of times our children, they will put a whole lot of paint on there. And you're going to have to really just focus on them getting the touch for the paint. You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm surprised this my painting looks this good. To be honest with you, but you know, it's good that you are sitting down with your child and you're doing it with them. And I decided I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna hold it a little bit more. It's like, well, man, I kind of want to make that a little bit bigger. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, what else? What else can I do with this project? So I wanted to make, they're talking to me, they're like, well, I want to make these bumps. And you talk to them, you can make the bumps. Go ahead and make the bumps on there. So they can choose whatever color they want to choose. They don't have to choose the color that's palish, pinkish color. They don't have to choose this color. They can choose what they want to choose. And you ask them, what color do you want to make the bumps with? And they might say, well, I want to use this really light color. It looks kind of like it's a white color. And then you ask them the question, why did you choose that color? Now, do you see I'm thickening up this conversation? And they might say to you, well, I want to choose this color because I can see the color right here. And to me, it matches. It matches. So now the conversation gets a little richer and it gets thicker and they are conversing with you. And every time that you have these conversations with your children, their language will become richer and richer. And you want that language to get as rich as it possibly can, because that is the language that they're going to use for the rest of their lives. Did you know that a child is learning how to speak as early as in the mother's womb, that their brain is developing? And when you're talking to them and you're putting your face up to them and you're attuned to them and you're smiling at them, that they're learning how to speak just like you learned how to speak. So this is really important business. I know we're at home during this time, but I'm telling you, if you just hang in there with us, you will have fun with your child. Okay, so I finished this one and I'm looking at it, and a lot of times you want to put your child's name on their work. So you can do it with some paint, or you can have them to do it. So I'm just going to put Ralph's name on it. Let's see. I'm going to do it. I'm going to turn it around. And then as I put Ralph's name on here, I'm going to spell Ralph's name. I'm going to say, Ralph, your name is R. That's why it's good to have a pen. A-L. So you're writing that for them. P. P is coming. It's coming, you guys. H. That's Ralph. And that is very important. Everybody needs a name. It's really important to identify your children by their name. They can be called a lot of different things, but when you call them their name, it gives them their own identity. All right. My co-facilitator, Nyla, handed me it. And then the pen. That's that's all right. So here we go. So this is the art, and you can let it dry. A lot of times you have in our early learning programs, we have racks. You don't have to use a rack. You can just use somewhere on your shelf, or you can get a line. You can get a line, and you can hang it on the line. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and put this tape right here, and I'm going to mat it really quickly. I'm going to mat it because I want Ralph to know that I can come back and mat it again a little bit better. But I want Ralph to know that his art is special and that he is special. And so then there we go. I'm going to mat it because then it becomes like a museum piece. I told you I'm not the best artist in the world, but I definitely wanted to get the dimensions of the squash. Oh my goodness. So that's art provocation. Just, all you need to do is just set up, make sure that you give them some choices. I like to give children choices. A lot of times, teachers will just leave it out, but I like to do choices, especially with the children I've been working with. They kind of know what they want. I'm going to read a little bit of this book, and then I hope that you enjoy your Saturday. Anti-Racist Baby by Ibram X. Kendi and illustrations by Ashley Lukashevsky. Right? We live in a time that we're seeing racism on a day-by-day basis, and we have to be really proactive with our children because we don't really know the damage that is happening to them, and when they see the violence. So there is a way of supporting our kids. To Imani, to all my faith, IXK, to all the young people whose imaginations are unbound by the imaginations of state violence, white supremacy, and the power we hold to build a world that is anti-racist. I believe in us. Anti-racist baby. All right. Ooh, look at these beautiful pictures. Look at that beautiful man. He's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. The artist, her name again is Ashley. She did an excellent job capturing. Here we go. Let's see. Let's read some of these taglines. We demand justice, equity now, Black Lives Matter, climate justice is racial justice. And then the little baby right here. Do you see her hair? So pretty. Does your hair look like that at home? Wow, I remember combing my daughter's hair, Imani and Nyla's hair like that. And all the multitudes of little girls and my little cousins, Cheryl Rose and Lily, and I had a lot of little cousins, Shay Lynn, and I would practice on them and do their hair. Anti-racist baby is bred, not born. Anti-racist baby is raised to make society transform. Wow. Babies are taught to be racist or anti-racist. There's no neutrality. Take these 9 steps to make equity a reality. So we have the letters R, A, C, E. You can even ask your baby, what do you see? Or your child, what do you see? What letters do you see here? Engage them in the book. Really good. Number 1, open your eyes to all skin colors. Whoa. See all those different people? All those different skin colors. I see brown, dark brown, light brown, all those different skin colors, complexions, just beautiful. See light her skin an orangier color, a yellower, a tannish color, just like the same color here. See? Kind of pinkish. Anti-racist baby learns all the colors, not because race is true. If you claim to be colorblind, you deny what's right in front of you. You can't deny it. We don't live in a colorblind society, you all. There's all these different kind of people. Use your words to talk about race. No one will see racism if we only stay silent. If we don't name racism, it won't stop being so violent. And racism is violent. It is. A children scene. Even if they didn't see George Floyd or Breonna Taylor, they can feel your pain and your anguish. Paint, point at policy as the problem, not people. Some people get more while others get less because policies don't always grant equal access. This is a good one for us adults. Number 4, I forgot to say pretty. Number 4, shout these. There's nothing wrong with people. Number 4, shout. There's nothing wrong with people. Even though all races are not treated the same, we are all human. Anti-racist baby can proclaim. Look at all those different beautiful people, families. Celebrate all your differences. Anti-racist baby doesn't see certain groups as better or worse. Anti-racist baby loves a world that's truly diverse. You all those beautiful babies, different babies. Name the colors for them. Ask them, what race or ethnicity do you think this child belongs to? That is okay. Because when you begin to talk about it, then it becomes a more part of their world, that they can see themselves equal to anyone, irregardless of their skin color. Number 6, knock down the stack of cultural blocks. Anti-racist baby appreciates how groups speak, dance, and create as they choose. Anti-racist baby welcomes all groups, voicing their unique views. Knock the blocks down. Beautiful baby. Ashley did a great job. Kendi wrote this book very well. Number 7, confess when being racist. Nothing disrupts racism more than we can confess that racist ideas that we sometimes express. Number 8, grow to be an anti-racist. Anti-racist baby is always learning, changing, and growing. Anti-racist baby stays curious about all people and isn't all knowing. We are never all knowing. We must stay curious. Believe we shall overcome racism. Anti-racist baby is filled with the power to transcend. My friend, and doesn't judge a book by its cover, but reads until the end. Isn't that beautiful? And then he has some words for the caregivers and parents. Anti-Racist Baby, Ibrahim X. Kendi, illustrations by Ashley Lukashevsky. All right, you all, my time is up. Again, my name is Kimberly, and we'll be back on Wednesday. Go online and you can see right where we are at. Please come and join us. We would love to have you. Love to have you. Love to have you. Have a great weekend, and we will see you Wednesday at 11 o'clock. On Wednesday, we're going to do a little bit more art provocation. I'll probably play with another piece of art. Go ahead and get your squash. If you weren't ready, get a pumpkin. Let your child paint that pumpkin, and then we might just open one of these and paint them. How about that? I'll see you later. Have a good Saturday. God bless.